Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing something different today. So I'm going to be reacting to baseball versus cricket. I grew up playing cricket. Cricket was a big part of my childhood. I am good at cricket to an extent. I used to play in some of the tournaments and all. And baseball, the only context I have of baseball is by watching cartoons, American cartoons where they play baseball. There are Japanese cartoons like Doraemon and like Ninja Hattori. That is the only time where I have properly seen baseball. So probably I'll get some insight into baseball as well. Essentially, I don't think you cannot compare two different sports. Two different sports are two different sports. You cannot compare cricket with anything else, baseball with anything else. The video is titled like baseball versus cricket, which sport is better. Maybe I can get some insight on both of them. You'll see.
Baseball versus cricket.
Yeah.
For some reason, I get a lot of people making adverse comments on my videos on baseball and cricket. Bowling, which is pretty sad, but quite a lot of them seem to be misinformed. And I'm here to put that to bed once and for all. This video
Oh, I'm getting a feeling that probably he must have got a lot of shit from Indians, I'm assuming.
Fans has in regards to the other sports, and show you why it's a largely pointless argument to compare the two. Before I get started, you know what to do, subscribe and hit the bell. And let's start by destroying myths held by cricket fans about baseball. Cricket fans will always argue that it's harder to hit a cricket ball, but this is not true.
Okay. That's a strong argument.
And sports science completely disproved this myth. The contact surface area of a baseball bat is significantly smaller than a cricket bat, which means putting the ball in play requires more accuracy with a baseball bat. This was demonstrated where a pro cricketer tried to hit with a baseball bat with relatively poor results, and a pro baseball player tries to hit with a cricket bat with significantly better results. The reaction time has to be quicker in baseball too. The distance between the wickets in cricket is roughly 20 meters. The distance between the pitching rubber and home plate, 18 meters. Therefore, you have less time to think and react in baseball. This is not a myth. This is a scientifically proven fact. It is physically harder to hit a baseball with a baseball bat. Cricket fans will argue that cricket bowlers launch.
That is not right. That's not true at all. Okay, so if you're simply taking like two things, right? Just the surface area of the baseball bat and the ball itself, you might be right? It might be harder to hit with a baseball bat rather than hitting a cricket ball with a cricket bat. But that is not how the game is played in cricket, right? In baseball, when you throw the ball, it is always traveling in the air. It never pitches the ground. When it comes to cricket, pitching the ground is the most significant part of playing the game. It is very easy for a cricket batsman to hit a ball that is completely traveling in air. In cricket, that's called as a full toss, which is a very weak bowling strategy. Bowlers would try their best not to bowl, and if they try to bowl a full toss, they'd actually get smacked by the batsman. And the reason why bowlers pitch the ball is that it changes direction or do something when it hits the ground. So there are different kinds of bowling strategies. There are like the two main categories are like pace, and the other one is spin, and there are like things like yorkers, googlies, and spins have a different categories, off spin, leg spin, googlies, and a lot of other things, and pace have different categories. And the reason why they are categorized is because of the variation of the ball, right? Swings actually change direction, but they are super fast as well, so it's very deadly. Yorkers target the batsman's leg, pitches near the batsman's leg, so it's kind of a little bit difficult to hit. There are bounces which kind of go over batsman's head. Those kind of variations are not available in baseball, right? I don't know if there's like can use some strategy to curve the ball while it's traveling. Yeah, so I don't think it's a valid comparison. Just two constraints, yeah, it makes sense, right? It might be difficult to hit a baseball with a baseball bat rather than hitting a cricket ball with a cricket bat. Excellent.
Let's see. To think and react in baseball. This is not a myth.
Like I said, when it pitches the ground, ball can do a lot of things. If it's a spin ball, so it can change direction. Like let's say it might be going in the left direction, and once it pitches, it can go right. So batsman might have much less time than you imagine. So yeah.
Cricket fans, this is not true.
With bowlers bowl faster than okay. So what the
baseball pitchers? Again, this is not true.
Yeah, I think that is correct. It is not true at all. Baseball bowlers are faster than cricket bowlers, and that's a reason for that. I'll tell you that.
Cricket ball at the top level is 88 miles an hour. The average speed of a baseball pitch, 92 miles an hour.
You want to know why? It is the exact same reason which I pointed out that previous video, because the ball fucking pitches in the ground and the bowling action is different. In baseball, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have a lot of baseball knowledge. You bowl the ball like this, right? So if I bowl a ball like this, I can get it to a significantly faster speed than when I bowl it with a cricket action. In cricket, You have to turn your arm like this and throw the ball. You cannot bend your arm. If you bend your arm, that's an illegal ball. So just think about it with your mind. If you're rotating your arm like this without bending your arm, can you get it to a faster speed than when you bowl like this? You can never do that. So if a cricketer can bowl with such an action, he can get to a much faster speed than 92 miles per hour. How you can take advantage of it is by pitching the ball. When the ball pitches the ground, or the bowler can use different techniques, like I mentioned before, spins and swings and all those other things, right?
An hour. The fastest.
Yeah, I'm not like undermining baseball or anything. Like, I think baseball is a very difficult sport. Like, I don't think it's worth comparing both of them, but his points I cannot agree with.
Our oldest Chapman, 105.1 miles an hour. Baseball wins. Cricket fans argue that cricket is played by more people worldwide. This is an annoying statistic, as cricket is played by fewer countries where the populations are massive. Use this to
I think this guy has some grudge against some people, most likely Indian people. If you say something bad against Indians in any video, you're gonna get fucking trolled in the comments, okay? We have 1.7 billion people. I think 1.8 billion now, right now, or maybe close to 2 billion. I don't know. Our population is increasing as we speak. The internet is filled with Indians. You better be careful, man.
Baseball is played in more countries where the populations are significantly less.
Okay.
Baseball fans use this statistic to over-exaggerate popularity and therefore superiority. And even then, using populations or number of countries is not an accurate measure of how many people actually play the sport in these countries. To me, this does not dictate how popular a sport actually is.
Yeah, I agree with him on that.
Deem baseball inferior because baseball players use a glove to catch the ball.
Yeah. That is true, isn't it? Oh, does every baseball player has a glove? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that is true, isn't it? I do remember Nobita and Doraemon trying to catch the ball with baseball glove.
It's incredibly shallow. Baseball players use gloves as a safety measure, not because they're incapable of catching a ball without a glove. And any cricket fans who disagree with that, what's this then? What's that? What's that thing that the wicketkeeper has on his hands? Oh yeah, it's gloves.
But okay. So there'll be 13 people on the ground who are actually in play at the point of time in a cricket match. So 2 of them are batsmen on one team and the other ones are fielders who are actually not on the batting team. And out of them, one person in the fielding team has the gloves, which is the cricket keeper. I mean, it makes sense for you to argue that like baseball people use it as a safety measure, but it is significantly more difficult to catch a ball with your bare hands, isn't it? You have to give it to them for catching with their bare hands, right? It's difficult. People have literally gotten their fingers broken. Like, I think in every tournament somebody gets their fingers broken or they get badly injured because they get a catch and they're not wearing proper gloves or anything. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
It is largely hypocritical. I'm all for player safety, and I condemn those who make fun of things that make a sport safe to play, especially if it's safety for kids. You literally are a disgusting scumbag if you make fun of safety measures. On the other side of the coin, baseball fans will argue that the cricket ball is easier to hit, and therefore it's easier to score runs.
Oh, okay, he's addressing your point actually.
But that's not necessarily true. Yes, we've scientifically proven that it is harder to physically hit a baseball, but it's certainly not easier to score runs because of it. In baseball, generally there's 3 ways that you can be out: struck out, caught out, or run out. In cricket, there's 10. Your wickets, you also have to defend yourself.
In cricket, you can do anything. You can throw anywhere. You can fucking throw their head, their groin. They can do whatever they want. People have literally died, facing balls, deadly balls.
Because in baseball, if you're hit by a pitch, you get to cry about it a little, and then you get a free
Oh yeah,
base.
that also happens. Okay, interesting.
Cricket, if you're hit by a ball and subsequently out from it, it's perfectly legal. And if it strikes your leg in front of the wicket, you're out.
Yep.
Throwing at the batsman is not only perfectly fine, but encouraged. A bowler could bounce the ball at your head with every ball, and it'd be perfectly acceptable. Can you score runs efficiently if they're gunning for your face? Debatable. Baseball fans will argue that it's easier to put the ball in play in cricket. But that's not true either.
Okay, I think he's addressing all my points. I take all of that back.
It's not enough to just make contact with the ball. It's putting the ball in play without being out. In baseball, you hit the ball between the foul lines, which forms this 90-degree area. You hit the ball outside the foul lines, you're not out unless you're caught in foul territory.
Interesting. Like that. Interesting. Very
Foul
interesting.
lines, which forms this 90-degree area.
That's just 90 degrees, isn't it?
Ball outside the foul lines, you're not out unless you're caught in foul territory.
If it is not caught in that, you get a catch, not in that territory, then you're not out.
But a
Interesting.
cricket batsman has to be able to hit 360 degrees around. Yes, they have to be adept at hitting the ball behind them as well as in front and at their sides. And even then, they could still be caught or run out, as opposed to being let off with just a foul ball in baseball. Yes, there are bigger gaps in the field because the fielding team has to cover more ground, but there's a lot more to think about than just hitting a ball with all your might. In cricket, you have to be more selective with what you hit, because once you're out, you don't get another chance to bat. You are done. Baseball fans will argue that cricket bowlers have no skill whatsoever, but it could be argued that they have to have more.
Okay.
In baseball, a pitcher stands in one place, throws the ball in the air directly to a batter, who is standing in one place. But a bowler in cricket can deliver the ball anywhere along the crease, on either side of the wicket. They can throw the ball on the full, like in baseball where it doesn't hit the ground, or they can bounce the ball from the floor. They can fast bowl it, spin it, hook it, roll it, either at the wicket, at the gaps around the wicket, or at the player themselves.
Interesting.
Whilst we've proven that they don't throw as fast, they use infinitely more tricks to try and
Is it just about the speed, or is there some other kind of metric that can decide on how the ball goes for a pitcher? Right. I think I got the term right.
Doesn't hit the ground, or they can bounce the ball from the floor. They can fast bowl it, spin it, hook it, roll it, either at the wicket, at the gaps around the wicket, or at the player themselves. Whilst we've proven that they don't throw as fast, they use infinitely more tricks to try and get the batsman out. This, unlike what the myth suggests, requires skill. Baseball fans will argue that cricket is long and boring. Not exactly covering themselves with glory on this one.
I don't know how long is a baseball match? Just over 3 hours. Oh, I think I might have to agree with them on that. It can be long and boring. I guess that is true. I'll give it
The
a
reason baseball fans say this is because of test matches. Due to their format, they can take anywhere up to 5 days to play. Whilst that's down to the very nature of the sport and its rules, the same cannot be said about the newer format T20, where some of the games are shorter.
I no longer have patience to watch one day or test matches. I think the only ones that I can currently watch now are the T20 ones.
League baseball games.
So yeah.
It all depends on which format you're watching. And as for the boring part, that's a subjective opinion rather than an objective fact. In short, whilst I've categorically destroyed the myths surrounding each sport, this video has largely been a waste of time, because they're two different sports. It's kind of like comparing an apple to a lemon. Lemon fanboys will argue that lemons are better because they're more yellow, and apple fanboys will argue that apples are better because they begin with the letter A. You could invent any metric to support or disprove any argument between these two, but it's not a fair comparison, because, read my lips, they are two different sports. Oh, and contrary to both sets of fans saying things like cricket is an inferior copy of baseball, or baseball is an American derivative of cricket, neither one of those is true, because they always were and always have been two completely separate sports. They were invented around about the same time, with no common heritage or overlap other than the fact that both sports originated in England. There is no sport that is objectively better, as the objectives are completely different for each one. Yes, both sports are played with a bat and a ball, but that's where the similarities end. The real question is, which sport do you prefer? That is up to you. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below.
Here's a compilation of like people getting hit in the nuts. That's very interesting. That was very insightful actually. I did learn a lot of things about baseball, but I do need to know the actual rules of baseball. Now I'm very intrigued. Let me know which video is good for like learning the basics of baseball. I kind of want to see a proper baseball match, but I think this video is actually pretty good. Yeah, I think initially it felt like he was actually taking the side of like baseballers based on the arguments that he was making based on the initial part of the video, but yeah, he was not. He kind of justified most of it towards the end of the video, so I think it made sense. And the bottom line of the video that he mentioned, not right to compare two different things, but I do believe cricket is bad. Just kidding. I do have some kind of bias to cricket, maybe because I grew up playing cricket, or I do feel like cricket is like way more complex and it's a bit more difficult to play than baseball. I don't know much about baseball, so I shouldn't be talking about it. I'll have to look into baseball before I make any other comment, so I'm gonna bite my tongue. I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna go watch another video explaining the rules of baseball. Maybe I can do a reaction to that too. That was a very interesting video and insightful video. Thank you, Nin Lee. I'll probably give him a subscribe, and yeah, I'll wait for this video. If you do like these kind of reactions, hit the thumbs up button and let YouTube know you like what you're watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night and goodbye.